full body workout. So that means we are progressing the legs, the chest, the shoulders, and the back. So we're doing a little bit of everything. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that like button for me to let me know you want more of this sort of content. And it helps support the channel, so thank you for doing that. So today we're gonna start with a warm-up. We're starting with a combination of exercises for the chest and back. So 2 exercises for the chest and back. And for doing this, I'm gonna show you how to do a bench row. So a bench supported row. So I'm going to grab a dumbbell and a bench. So for this, I'm gonna be working my right hand. So I'm gonna put my left hand on the bench right under my shoulder. This is for supporting my upper body while I'm working the muscles in my right hand. So from here, I'm gonna, keeping one foot on the ground, one knee on the bench, let the dumbbell completely hang. Now this lets me really focus on stretching out those muscles in my shoulder and my lats in my upper back. So laying that fully hang out towards the ground, pulling up to the back, and then fully hang back down. And that full extension, or full, I should say, stretch of the muscle is going to help build that muscle faster. So that's one reason I really like this exercise, because you don't have to worry about your low back. You can focus in on what's happening at the shoulder and your upper back. So we're gonna do 10 of these each side to warm up those muscles. So doing a slightly lighter dumbbell, warming up the muscles in your shoulder and back. And same thing on the other side. I'm gonna put my right hand down, let my left hand hang all the way to the ground. So I'm really letting that shoulder blade pull apart, and then pull up to the back, and then back down to a complete hang. You should feel that tension in the muscle as you fully let that dumbbell come back down towards the ground. If you aren't going down all the way, you're cheating yourself out of the most important part of the rep, or important part of the exercise. Is that high tension point where you really build that muscle and grow that muscle. Hang on 1 second. So that's the one exercise. And I like to pair that exercise with a bench press. So we just worked the muscles in the back. Now we're gonna work the muscles in the front. So front of the shoulder, chest muscles, and the triceps in the back of the arm. Now for this, you can have your knees up on the bench, or feet up on the bench so your knees are up. But I would recommend, if you can, put your feet solidly on the ground. From here, you're gonna have your hands in line with your elbows. So when I bend my elbows, I'm not gonna let my hands come in. I'm gonna keep them wide out to the side. Sort of tap my chest with the inside of the dumbbell, and then back out. So you should feel this in your chest and the back of your arms and the front of your shoulder. So we're working a lot of muscles all at once. And doing about 10 of these, getting warmed up in that shoulder joint. So with those two exercises, we cover both the pushing and pulling movements of the shoulder. So both pushing this way and pulling. So our bench row is our pull and our bench press is our push. So once the pushing is working all these front muscles, the pulling is working all these back muscles. So it covers a variety. So I like to do workouts in pairs of exercises. That's what's called a superset, which means we're working one direction, the other set of muscles is relaxing, and then vice versa, when we're working the pulling muscles, the muscles in the front are relaxing. So it lets us get through a workout much faster. So I like to do that for a warm-up with some lighter dumbbells, then we move to a heavier set of dumbbells. Once you feel like you've got some blood flow into the muscle, you're a little looser. So I'm gonna try for 3 sets, but if you are just starting out, I would start with 1 set. That means just we go through those exercises 1 time. Now, if you're a little more advanced or feel a little bit more ambitious, you could try for 2 sets or 3 sets. So we're trying to get enough, we're trying to do as many sets as we can without feeling so sore that we wouldn't be able to work out again in 2 days from now. So if you're still real sore in 2 days, try to reduce the number of sets, and then so if you're sore in 2 days, try and reduce the number of sets and see if you are able to recover in that amount of time. Excuse me 1 second, I'm having a slight technical hiccup. Give me just 1 moment. Okay. So hopefully you guys can hear and see me. I think it should all be going through now. So we're going into a set, our first set of bench rows. So I went to a heavier dumbbell, I added 10 pounds onto this, and now we're going to do about 10 reps with a heavier weight. So, I'm gonna put my hand supporting under my shoulder, let this other hand hang down. My foot's there for support as well. And then from here, going just up to my rib cage level and then back down. The more important part is to go all the way back down to a full hang. And this is working those lats as well as the muscles around your shoulder blade, that posterior deltoid, and some of your bicep as well. That muscle in your upper arm. And relax. All right, and switching to the other side. Now, however many I did on one side, I'm gonna try and match it on the other. We wouldn't want to have an uneven arm. So if I did 11 on one side, I'm gonna try and do 11 on the other. Now, a trick is you can look up, especially if you're more likely around your back. To keep your back straight, looking up will help with that. Now, a trick with this one too If you feel like one side is harder than the other, start with the harder side, because if that side's only able to get 10 reps or 9 reps, you don't want to have done, let's say, 12 reps on one side and then only 9 on the other. So start with the weaker side and then move to the stronger side and match it. Because that way you'll have a balanced physique where one side's not getting a ton of growth and the other side's lagging behind. So now I'm gonna grab a second dumbbell. And go into a dumbbell bench press. Starting with my hands right over the top of my shoulders, feet stably on the ground. I'm gonna pinch my shoulder blades together to give myself a solid foundation for doing this exercise. That's gonna help open up your chest to where you can really let that chest contract and work against these weights. If I'm already pinching my chest together, I've shortened that muscle. It's like having a short runway for a plane. Imagine your muscle is like a runway. You want a long runway so you have a lot of room to grow. So go in here and all the way down, all the way back up. Important part is to go as low as you can, where it's comfortable on your shoulder. Shouldn't have any pain in your shoulder as you're doing this. If you do have a little discomfort in your shoulder, you can bring your elbows closer to your rib cage to take a little bit of pressure off that shoulder. And if you still have discomfort, try lightening the dumbbell. So you go down, try and breathe in, and breathe out as you push up. And I like to set the dumbbells on my knees and then sit back up. So that is our first set. Now, the first set is the most important. It gets you a lot of strength gains, a lot of muscle building, but if we were to add additional sets, even though we get diminishing returns from the later sets, it just stacks up on top of that benefit we're getting from the first set. So even though it's less efficient, it can be you'll be better off if you really want to build up more muscle. The more you can put into it, the more number of sets you can recover from, the faster you can build that muscle. So we were trying to do continuous building and gaining that muscle. So that's why we're gonna add additional sets, which means we're repeating that same exercise 2 more times. The set of exercises 2 more times rather. If you think about it, if you were to say, oh man, if you were to invest $1 and peak efficiency is only $1 where you get an entire dollar back. But if you did $2, you get $1.90 back. Of course we would do $2 to get $1.90 back, even though it's slightly less efficient. I'm still almost doubling my money. Same thing with muscles. If you think about them like an investment, maybe it's a little less efficient to do a second set, but you still get a ton more benefit to the muscle from doing that, so why wouldn't you? I used to be in that camp of, oh, 1 set's the most efficient, and I've come to realize, yeah, it is, but really, I can get to where I want to go so much faster if I do multiple sets. So if you're limited on time or you're just starting out, 1 set's great, but I would encourage you to try and build up to multiple sets. So we're gonna go into our second set. starting with a bench supported row. So one hand down, other hand is fully hanging down, looking up to keep your back straight, pulling up to your shoulder or up to your rib cage and then back down, working the muscles in the back and shoulder. Back of your shoulder, between your shoulder blades, and in your lats along your rib cage. And same thing on the other side. Hand underneath the shoulder, starting from that full hang, looking up to keep your back straight, pulling up to the back, bending that elbow. Breathing in and out. And relax. Like those two exercises because they're complementary muscles. So one side pushes, one side pulls. So we're getting a balance between those two. I always like to work muscles in pairs, because muscles actually operate in pairs like a teeter-totter. So you wouldn't want one side really strong and one side not that strong, because it's gonna tip those scales over to the side that's strong, and it can cause problems where you have that muscle imbalance. So I like working both sides so you can have fluid movements in your joints, and we're not deficient in how we move, and we're not deficient in our physique too. Doesn't look good if you have one side that's really big and the other side's really small and tiny and weak. Not good. So we want to have a balanced physique for a lot of reasons, both aesthetic and functional. So going back to our chest press or bench press, two different names for it. Let me know in the comments what name you've heard for this exercise. Do you call it a bench press or a chest press? Because I've heard both. Classically, a bench press is done with a barbell. So we're doing a barbell or a dumbbell bench press. So I'm pinching my shoulder blades together, hands right over the top of the shoulders. And the advantage of the dumbbells is that I can go lower without the bar hitting my chest. So I can really get as deep as the joint allows me to. Also, as I'm doing this, if I ever needed to drop the weights, I could get them to the ground because there's not a bar in the way. So it's a little bit easier to be safe with this as well. And relax. So after I rack the weights, usually take about a minute between, let the muscles relax a little bit. I am doing a superset to try and limit rest time as well, but I just have found that it takes a little bit of time to really pause between to get the most out of each exercise. The big thing for me is my grip. I can feel my forearms burning a bit, having done the 2 exercises. My forearms don't really get a rest between. So I find I need a little bit of time before I go into the next exercise because of the grip. Now that does mean I'm building up my grip strength as well. So I'm building these forearm muscles, but I don't want them to be my limiting factor where I'm not really getting a good workout in my chest and back as well. So I'm gonna just shake out my hands a little bit. Something that can help is get a water bottle that's cool and hold your palms to it. And that will help your muscles recover a little faster, because something that causes fatigue is actually heat. So cooling off the circulation, the blood flow in your hands helps cool off your whole body a little bit, but especially your forearms. So holding onto a cold water bottle can help with that recovery. There's a thing they did for testing where they had a pipe running cold water that you could hold on to, and found people were able to build up their pull-ups much faster. They were able to do more pull-ups after cooling off their hands on that water pipe. So water bottle with nice ice cold water, or even it doesn't have to be water, as long as it's something cold, can help out with going from set to set. Or you could just run your hands under cool water or a fan. Got like an overhead fan blowing down. It'll help you go from one set to the next. Okay, this is our third and final set for our upper body. And then we're gonna do some lower body exercises to make sure we hit those legs. So I'm working on this one. I'm working the lats, which run along the rib cage, the bicep, which runs in the upper arm, and the posterior deltoid and muscles in the shoulder blade back here. So we're working a lot of muscles all at once with just a few exercises. So for this, doing a supported row, putting my knee on the bench, supporting with the hand, looking up to keep my back straight, and I'm pulling up to the back. Showing from a little bit different of an angle. Trying to keep my back straight, pulling from the shoulder. And whatever I do on my weaker side, I'm trying to match on my stronger side. So, knee on the bench, hand right underneath my shoulder, laying the dumbbell hang down. I'm gonna go ahead and move back to the other camera. It's just a little bit too close to the camera to be able to see. So I'm laying it fully hang, pulling up to the back. Should be looking up. Keep my back straight. Now, something I like about the single-handed variation of this is I can really let my shoulder fully extend, whereas if I had two hands, it couldn't really do that twist where it's getting that full lengthening of the muscle. So that's an advantage of doing it one hand at a time. And that's limiting how much strain is at my low back as well. Excuse me a moment. All right, so now we just did upper body. Now we're gonna do some lower body work. So to do this, we're gonna do a split squat. Now I really like the split squat because it's emphasizing those quad muscles, muscles right here on the top of your thigh. It is working some of those hamstrings and glutes as well, but especially I feel it right in here, these quad muscles. They're great for your knee health. They actually pull that kneecap solidly into the groove that's right there. So it's called the trochlear groove. It helps pull that knee in and keep that kneecap stable. So very important that these muscles are strong and healthy to support your entire body. So I personally have a goal of being able to do a single leg squat. So the split squat is a great start for that, working at single leg strength and stability. So for this, I'm gonna use a bench. You could also do this with a chair. So I'm gonna take the bench and set it up sideways like this. Then I'm gonna have a seat on the bench. From here, sitting on the bench, one foot goes out in front straight. That tells how far away this leg should be from the bench. So my leg being straight, that's where your front leg is gonna be, okay? So from here, I'm just gonna stand up without moving this front leg. So I'm working my weaker side first, that's my left side. So I'm gonna put my other foot up on the bench. So it's there for balance, but all of my weight is on my left leg. So from here, out moving my foot, I'm gonna bend my knee, tap this leg's knee down to the ground, and then back up. So I'm working the muscles right here in the quads. So I'm really trying to bend that front leg. Trying for about 10 reps. Should really feel that burning in the muscle in the front leg. And 10. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. One leg out in front. Stepping forward, put the other foot on the bench, and then bending that knee, going down and back up. Doing about 10 reps each side. Trying to match the same number of reps on my stronger side as my weaker side. Now for my legs, I find 2 sets is sufficient to where I feel pretty sore the next day. So I'm aiming for about 2 sets per side. So that was the first set. We're gonna do one more. But it's amazing to me how fast your legs adapt. Might be that next week I could go to a 3rd set, because the first time I did these, a couple weeks ago, was really feeling into my quads and these muscles in here. Next day, but the week after was a lot easier to do the same level of work. So I might be able to actually get another set in as I get more used to the exercise. So if you're just starting a new exercise, I would start small, and because you can always add more later. So much harder to start large and have to shrink down. Where sometimes too, when you push too hard, too fast, you can increase your risk of injury. So it's better to start small and then scale it up. Now, swimming with legs are much larger muscles, very important muscles, but it's gonna take more out of you energy-wise. So sometimes that can mean you need to budget a little bit more time in the gym when you're doing legs to be able to work the muscle and still be able to lift safely where you're not gonna hurt your low back or your knees or your hips. But especially the low back, I find is what people tend to rely on when their legs get tired. They put all that pressure in the low back. So take a little extra time, it's okay. And you can help save yourself in the long run by not doing something that's gonna injure your low back. Where people sort of, see a lot of people, when they do a squat, they round forward and do this, where their back is sort of whipping up, as opposed to squatting and keeping that back stable. So take the time, rest a little bit. I'm watching my heart rate. Right now my heart rate is above 130. So I like it to be below 130, closer to 120 when I start the next exercise. Now, the exact number might vary a little bit for you. It could be a little bit higher, but ballpark number, I'd say trying to get your heart rate below 130 is a good idea. There might be some optimization that I'm not aware of for heart rates study-wise. Something I might look into, but let me know if that's something that would be interesting to you, of knowing where your target heart rate should be during working out for optimum growth of muscle. If you are interested in knowing something really kind of nerdy scientific, I know some people are. I like to know some of those things. If you want to know, if you want me to do that, look into that, let me know in the comments. All right, so we're gonna do one more set of legs and then we'll call it a day there. So this will be the end of our full body. So ending with the split squat, using a chair or a bench. Now the higher the chair is, the more difficult it's going to be. So one leg out in front, stepping forward, putting the other foot on top. You can use something for balance, trying to stay straight up as much as you can. And I'm keeping my knee in line with my toe. I'm not letting it drift inwards. It's bending in the same direction my toe is going. And last one, 10. And same thing on the opposite side. Try and go even on both sides. Stepping forward, foot up on the bench. Trying to keep my upper body upright, really trying to bend that knee. And relax. So that was our full body workout. If you want to see more workouts like these, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're looking to continually progress and strengthen your muscles, I'd love to see you there, help you do that. So take care, see you next time.